Hey, so I'm at Torrey Pines right now going for a hike on a beautiful December day here in San Diego. And I wanted to bring you along with me and just have a conversation and share some of the insights and realizations that I've been having recently, inspired by some different conversations with friends. So I want to talk to you today about radical honesty. And in my radical honesty, this is actually something that I'm still sitting with and I'm still figuring out in my own life and what it looks like. And it's just been something that's been really present for me, especially lately. And I've been having some really powerful experiences with this. I wanted to share that with you because I really feel strongly that the more truly honest we are, especially with ourselves and honest in our relationships, that the more connection and the more freedom and the more love we have the potential of experiencing. So I've just found it really interesting that the last few conversations I've had with different friends or even dates I've been on recently, there has been a stronger commitment to being totally honest. So I've had, people share with me exactly how they were feeling in the moment, whether it was, they're feeling a little nervous or they're feeling insecure or there was something that came up for them. And it's just so fascinating that, our minds would probably be thinking in that moment, like, oh my gosh, it's so scary to be that vulnerable and share that I'm nervous or share that I'm insecure because this person may reject me or whatever it may be. But actually, it was completely the opposite. So having friends share that with me or dates share that with me, I felt so much more connected to that person, and I just immediately could feel myself soften and open and feel a lot more love and compassion and understanding for the person, and it connected us even deeper. And so it's just such a powerful thing to really start practicing. And I know for myself even, I've had some experiences lately where I've had, strong things move through me or strong emotions. I went to a friend's house the other day and I walked in and there was a few people gathering, and there was a guy there that I had met a few times before, but we'd never really had a one-on-one conversation. And I walk in and he asked me a question about my Italy trip. And I had really been so emotional that day that when I walked in that door, I was still having these strong emotions flow through me. And in that moment when he asked me about my Italy trip, it wasn't authentic for me to ignore what I was feeling and to try to go back in my memory and go, oh, okay, well, this Italy, yeah, this memory, blah, blah, blah. I just told him, I was like, hey, I would really love to share this with you, but right now I'm feeling really emotional and I'm just gonna, sit with that for a moment if that's okay. And he took it so well. He was like, wow, thank you. Thank you for being honest. I totally honor that. And I've just been in this practice of really just speaking my truth of whatever's real for me in the moment and not trying to pretend things aren't there, or not trying to come across any sort of different way other than what's actually real. So I've had lots of these experiences lately where me just sharing what's coming through me, even if it's something that's not very pleasant or, something that got triggered from a past experience that was coming up in the moment, just by me being radically honest with that person and sharing, I feel so much more free and so much more relieved that it was able to flow through me and I didn't try to block it and stop it and pretend it wasn't there. And the people in my life have also been very graciously receiving of it, just like I was as well with the people that had been radically honest with me about their feelings. So I just think it's so important for us to really, stop pretending and to really be so much more real and sharing who we are on a real level. And another conversation I was having last night with a friend was just about dating and relationships and how so many of us think that when we first meet somebody, we need to, project this image of who the other person wants us to be or who we think that we should be, whether that's, successful and smart and funny and whatever this may be. And then there's all those other parts of ourselves that we kind of tuck away or hide and go, oh, well, I don't want them to know that part of me yet. And so we try to portray this image of ourselves, and then the other person is probably doing the same thing of portraying some image of themselves, and it's just not real. So then we're falling in love with these images of each other that aren't the whole story, because that there's going to be, later on down the road, you're going to find out all those other deep things that person wasn't sharing right away. And it's just, I just fully believe that the more just open and real we can be, the more we actually learn to accept ourselves. Because if we're tucking those things away and we're saying, oh, I don't want to share this with this person because they may reject me, or they may think that I'm not this image I'm trying to project. They may think I'm not that great. That actually means that we're not fully loving and accepting all of who we are and our experiences and everything that we've been through. And that's really key. It's so important for us to really fully love and accept all of who we are, so that we're coming from a place of wholeness when we meet another in relationship. Because if we're not, then there's only these, partial pieces, these images that they're trying to connect together, and there's no real intimacy in that. And so I just know from my own experience that when I'm more honest and when people around me are more honest, there is more connection, there's deeper connectivity, and you can sink in deeper with people right away, and you can, let go of the facade and the mask and the trying and the pretending, and there's just such freedom in that. So much freedom. And you bypass all of the, struggle and chaos and things that you experience later on in a relationship if you fall in love with, two people fall in love with each other's images and not the real person. So if you're somebody that wants realness in life, then this is definitely a very important practice. And I get that not everybody is going to want this. Not everybody is going to be ready for this type of honesty because it's confronting, it's triggering. And how are we doing with the sound, Rob?
It's okay.
Are you sure? Okay. So there's just a plane going by. It can be very confronting and triggering because it brings up all of our fears of rejection, of not being good enough, of all these things. And when we just face that and we share it and we share who we are and we share what's real, then the people that we're meant to connect with will connect with. If you're pretending and you're wearing a facade and you're just trying to project this image of perfection, and you are in a relationship with somebody, and you're coming from that place, then you're not going to be able to have real intimacy, and you're probably going to be attracting a lot of other people into your life that aren't really real either. And I think that we're just really ready for realness. We're really ready for deeper intimacy. I know that there's so many people that are craving this true deep connection and this intimacy, and it comes from being vulnerable and being okay to just share who we are and to be honest. So yeah, essentially, first and foremost, it is so crucial that we are radically honest with ourselves, that we actually tell ourselves the truth about how we're feeling and really what's real for us. And that means, if we're experiencing a strong emotion or experience in our lives, to not necessarily turn to our vices to numb out our feelings, the TV, the food, etc., but to really take the time to feel what's real for us and to discern what's real. We can a lot of times create a lot of stories around what things mean, and that's not necessarily real. But if you drill down to what is actually here, you tune into your heart and you listen to your inner guidance system, it will not lead you astray. And you'll know what your truth is. And when it comes to speaking your truth to other people, it's also so important, especially in relationships, any kind of relationship. Because anytime we're not speaking our truth, there's withheld communication, we're holding things back, we're not sharing how we really feel, because really being honest doesn't mean necessarily not just telling a lie. It means really sharing what is real for you and not withholding communication or withholding things that come up. Once you start doing that, it builds up rust in a relationship, and it becomes harder and harder to really create a true connection. And so it's just so important for true, authentic, relationships to speak your truth and to have discernment. Again, that it's not just a story or a judgment or some, thing that your mind is making up, but to tune into your heart. What is really real for you? And in sharing your truth with other people, it's also important to have, discernment and to share it with compassion and to, really put yourself in the other person's shoes for a second to feel into how would they best want to hear this. And so it's just really important to discern in that way. But overall, the more you speak your truth, the more free you're going to feel, the more connected to your authenticity you're going to be. And it's really, from my own experience, what I feel is totally most fulfilling. So again, I'm committed to this, and I'm just, here to share this with you and hopefully inspire you to also commit to being much more honest with yourself and with people in your life and in your relationships. And I would love to hear from you as well, to hear about your experiences with radical honesty and what it's brought about for you in your life. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I've had a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time.